We are back, everybody. Welcome into another episode of Living the Guard Life. After a little bit of a hiatus, I was on vacation. We needed a little time away. We appreciate you all being here. We are brought to you, as always, by our friends over at Element Apparel. You can find the link down in the description down below. Get the best vintage apparel on the market. You can go with the Guardians, with the Cavs. We don't know how long Nick can keep wearing that shirt. With the Browns, Ohio State, all of that. Homage has got you covered, top to bottom. Always running some really awesome sales week in, week out. So make sure you check them out. The link down in the description down below will take you to their Guardians collection. You can go through all that stuff in that one. Listen, if you're like me, you want to continue doing some sports betting now in the state of Ohio, do it with BetJack, man. You're looking at a local Ohio-based sports book. A lot of really great folks work over there. So there's a link down in the description to sign up for that if you want to do that as well.
Might have bet no runs first inning with Triston McKenzie. Feeling great.
Dealing. We're getting there. Listen, if you're checking us out on YouTube, we appreciate you. If it's the first time you're here, thank you so much for joining us. Please hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, consider giving us a 5-star rating and a review. Same thing on Spotify. So if you can check that out, it helps us out a ton. If you are listening to the audio only, do go over to the youtube.com/network_216 so that you can subscribe to the channel and help us out. If you want to help us out and get some extra special content, you can join and get a membership to the channel for $2.99 a month and check all of that stuff out, guys. How are we doing tonight?
I am wonderful. You know what? I feel like, okay, so unsubstantiated claim, maybe slightly substantiated claim. Every time we go live, it feels like the Guardians have salvaged whatever was going on, and they're coming off a little bit of winning. You know, Triston McKenzie was back today, and I got a shout out to our friend Gab Gowdy, who had the stones to bet Triston McKenzie over 5.5 strikeouts today. Had 10 and one hit. I you know what? And I'll fully admit, I bet Logan Allen over 4.5 strikeouts yesterday. He had about 4 or 5 two-strike pitches, could not get it. I was a coward. Did not bet Triston McKenzie over 5.5 strikeouts. He had it by the fourth inning.
He had 8 strikeouts in the first 4, I think.
Yeah, he was dealing.
He was dealing really good.
Welcome back, Triston. Welcome back, us. Feels great.
Roger, how you doing tonight, man?
Man, you know what? I've been living the guard life, baby. I've been living, and I didn't have a drink all weekend. I got a big week coming up. I broke open the fresh bottle of Paisan tonight to do the show. We got a full slate this week. I'm on a game show tomorrow, Wednesday night it airs.
Really?
Yvette's got a game show. Andy and I and some other people, I ain't going to name them, are going to be on that. And then we got Dog Chuck. So I'm like, I'm going to be doing enough drinking. I'm not going to have any tonight. But after this game today, you know what? They split. And I was happy to take the split. What are we right now? We're 15 and 17 on the road. You know, we're climbing back out of the hole. I think we get to 500 and we go from there. But they're playing awesome baseball, man. You know, outside of that, my son went 3 for 4 yesterday, had a pair of doubles and a triple, scored 5 runs to Bulldog 55. Wow, how about that?
We need to call him up. We've had that conversation before. We want to get him over here and join. Like
he'd pick up his glove and run out there if you let him.
Oh, I know. I know he would. That's the best part. He give you everything. Listen, guys, let's start. I want to start with Triston McKenzie. I mean, obviously we touched on it a little bit already, but we've talked about it on this show for quite a while. You know, and Quantrill ends up going to the injured list. Maybe something's going on there, some inflammation, that sort of stuff, trying to figure it out. But we kept talking about finding ways to tread water until McKenzie got back. But at the same time, you had to have like these reasonable expectations, like what is McKenzie going to do when he first gets back? And he comes out there and doesn't look like he's missed 2 months. And I understand he's had the rehab. He's had all of that. He was locating his pitches. He had the velocity. He didn't – I mean, he lets up 1 hit in 5 innings. He had a few guys that really he had to battle. He had some I think he had – was it in the 4th? It was either in the 4th or the 5th inning when I was listening where he had like 2 at bats that were like double-digit pitches. Like he had a couple of, he ended up throwing like 30 pitches in that inning, which really is why he ended up only pitching 5 innings, because as Tito had talked about, Tito wanted him to be somewhere around 75 to 85 pitches, which is, I think he had 74. So he was somewhere around there with that, but he battled in some situations. He struck out 10, had allowed 1 hit, and he just came out and you were like, listen, we've got to figure something out with a couple of these rotational starters. Like Quantrill's spot, Savali's spot, these spots that have been, not Savali, who am I thinking? Plesac. In Plesac's spot, where you're kind of looking at guys that have been kind of struggling, like, where are you going? And he comes in, he was as advertised. What we on this show, we talked about it. You don't have your second best pitcher. And he went out there and pitched like your second best pitcher. He pitched like a guy that gives you the opportunity. And I'm going to say this, and people are going to hate it, but if you're looking for a bat and you want to deal Bieber, McKenzie makes you feel better. McKenzie, Allen, and Bybee, and knowing that Savali's there as well, and you start to feel like, listen, if we think we can get a big bat by trading a contract like Shane Bieber, trading a player like that who potentially is going to want to get paid very, very soon, this is what you needed. You needed McKenzie to prove he could be that guy. And I just think that this start could be a ripple effect that we've seen the offense start to come alive, and you feel really good if that is what you want. If you want to move on from Bieber to upgrade the hitting, I think McKenzie made you feel like you could do that today.
And you know what, Jacob? You say McKenzie pitched like your second best pitcher. I would contend that this 5 innings was the best outing that we've seen from any Guardians pitcher all year. You have 10 strikeouts, 1 hit, and 1 walk. I mean, that for your debut MLB start, that's an ace in my book. And if he had been allowed to come out for 6 innings, I have no reason to believe that McKenzie wouldn't have just kept striking people out.
It was just a pitch count thing. That's all it was.
Yeah. And so, you know what? I know there's been some talk about say the Cardinals have a couple of bats that maybe you'd be interested in, and their starting rotation is particularly poor.
It's very bad.
So maybe that's a road you go down, and I'm sure Roger can fill us in on if I'm truly accurate about McKenzie's outing being the best that we've seen. But it certainly was encouraging. And if you're in a position where you're looking for bats, I mean, maybe this is a point where you pull from a position of strength, because the Guardians are in a very fortunate situation that despite starting slow, the division is still right there.
It's terrible,
And so I could see them being especially encouraged at the trade deadline, especially in a year when they've already spent money to begin with, right? They want to make this worth it. And I think this is a very enticing opportunity. What do you think, Roger?
First of all, with it absolutely, he went out there today and he just dominated from beginning to end. They were clueless. They couldn't catch up to him. I already consider him the ace of our staff. Bieber isn't the same pitcher he was. He isn't. Bieber won the Cy Young during the he pitched what? How many games did we play that year? It was during the pandemic year when he won the Cy Young. Yeah. And you still, he won the Cy Young. But Shane Bieber isn't. He's more myth now than he's just one of them guys that we have. You know what the Guardians are good at is getting off talent at the right time, and bringing in younger guys. And I don't know what they're going to do with Bieber when come to trade deadline, because now we got a logjam. They DFA'd Zach Plesac. I fully expect him to clear waivers and end up back. Nobody's going to want to pay that $3 million this year. I expect him back in Columbus and back in our system and not on the 40-man roster. And that was the idea. You had to get him off the 40-man roster. You had to make room. I think we have a logjam at pitching. I think they're going to move Bieber, to be honest with you. And I think when they talk about why collect more prospects, well, those are chips that you deal away to get another bat, or if you want to get somebody in the middle of the bullpen, or if we need to we don't need to get a catcher. We got a catcher in Columbus is ready.
No, I've got something.
I know
to say
Jacob
about
got
that.
stuff on that. I know we'll get to him. But I think our pitching is just getting ready. Our pitching is getting ready to take off right now. We found out Bivey was human. What was that? Friday night? Or no? When did he get hit? Was that Thursday? I have it here. We found out, but that's going to happen. The young guys are going to go through the growing pains like that. It's going to be an adjustment. He'll come back his next outing. It's happened to him once already this season. You're right, Nick. We're ready to turn a corner, ready to go on a winning streak. We got Boston at home, and we got Houston at home coming up. I'm pumped, man. I'm excited about the pitching. I don't know, man. Let's get into it.
You want to hear something? This is a stat.
Yeah.
I love this stat. So I was listening to Hammy. I think I want to say it was the 8th inning. It might have been the 7th. No, it was the 8th inning. Jimenez and Brennan in the last 6 games have 11 hits apiece in their last 6 games. Which listen, that's what I heard. I wrote it down. Maybe I misread misheard what he had said, but his point was, hey, look, Jimenez is looking like Jimenez again. That's something that we all talked about on this show before. Yeah. Hey, we have guys out there that are not hitting right now that we've seen do it. Not just guys we're projecting. With Jimenez, I know there's not a huge sample size of it, but you had last season where he was good all year. For the most part. Obviously, everybody goes through highs and lows over a 162 game season, but he just wasn't himself. And that was a big problem because you paid him to be a decent sized bat in the lineup. Yeah. So now he's got 11 hits in the last 6 games. You're trying to figure out some things at shortstop. As one of the positions that's kind of struggling over there at short, and Brennan's been hitting 11 hits in 6 games. He walked today, which I guess was only his 5th walk in 134 at bats, which is insane that he just doesn't walk. But you're looking at Brennan, you're looking at Jimenez, and you're like, hey, these are 2 guys. You're seeing Brennan play more. You're now seeing Arias. Of course, Arias is playing because Josh Bell's on the paternity list. But listen, Arias doesn't play first base. And he had a heck of a day at first base today. Yeah. He was digging he's a natural shortstop by trade. But all of a sudden we're seeing these 2 guys hit. We're seeing Arias hit, Arias field. We've got 3 players that are really heating up, and they're not even your biggest bats. I know Jimenez is one of them, but Jose's doing Jose things. I feel like Bell has hit better recently. And all of a sudden, I said this on Twitter, we have got to get more consistency because you did lose a game 1-0 yesterday or on Saturday. So you got to get some more consistency at the plate. But the guys that were supposed to do it are starting to do it. And so are some of the other guys that are fighting for playing time, and they're going to force themselves on the field. And I just think that it's trending in a direction that you should feel good about.
You talked about the last 6 games, and I think it's important to bring up that Josh Naylor also has 9 hits in the last 6 games, and a couple of hits that very huge closely hits. Could have been home runs, right? He has 1 home run, but there's been a couple that
I thought he had that one today, man.
Yeah, I thought he had that one today. I thought he had one yesterday. I believe there was another one that was hit right near the weird brick. I'm really starting to appreciate opposing ballparks or the differences of ballparks, because there's that weird concrete barrier that's technically not a home run, but if you hit it on the top of the concrete in Minnesota, it is a home run. And that's robbed the Guardians a couple times now, which is super strange to me. Because, and so I think the most important part is this, right? You split this series against the Twins 2-2, but you were up 6-3 in the 8th inning of game 2 of this series, and you lost 1-0 game 1 of this series. You've been right there, and the Twins are on top of your division. So it's really difficult, and I'm sure you can tell I'm oozing excitement. This is summer baseball. It's coming. I feel it. You very easily could have swept the Twins, and you just got Triston McKenzie back. All of a sudden, your bats are starting to get a little warm. You're starting to see some production there. And I want to share a story real quick. On Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, I was in Cleveland for the Guardians game. And to their credit, they have a great fan base. There were a lot of St. Louis Cardinals fans there.
Oh, they travel. They travel well. Yep.
At one point, the Cardinals were up 3-1, and I'm sitting in a reasonable section. There are "Let's Go Cardinals" chants breaking out in our stadium, and that was painful because it was 3-1. But our comeback and Jose Ramirez ending up hitting that game winning was so damn satisfying. Thanks for coming, Cardinals fans. Here's your L. Goodbye. We don't.
Yeah.
Just it's been wonderful to see the bats really start to heat up, because I think that's what we've been saying all along, is that the pitching has been pretty good, and especially now with McKenzie and Savali back. I mean, it's hard not to feel good.
Yeah. Over the last 5 games, both Naylor, this is Naylor over the last 5 games. Before today, 19 at-bats, 8 hits, a home run, 8 RBIs, and he scored 4 runs. Jimenez is 21 at-bats, 10 hits, 4 RBIs, and he scored 2 runs. Those 2 guys right now, Jimenez's batting average going into Thursday night was 220. He's hitting around 250 right now. Before today, it was 247. They're hot. And that's what, what happened early in the season is nobody was hot. Everybody was cold.
Yep.
You have 3 or 4 guys hitting. You have 2 or 3 guys that are in a slump. You have 2 guys walking and a catcher that might get on base once a week. And you can win some ball games doing that. But when everybody's cold and nobody's hitting, then you're in trouble. But it looks like that we're climbing out of it, man. This team does not quit. They just keep going out there and hitting a baseball. And it's exciting. There's an argument to be made. And you mentioned him when we were talking Grant, Jacob. Mm-hmm. There's a good argument that this team, could have swept them in Minnesota. I think we go in Wednesday, and that was the game that Bybee pitched. And we came back, and we ended up losing the game. And then we had the day. What was tough is we played a day game Wednesday. We didn't even talk about beating the Baltimore Orioles in Baltimore.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
We went into the second-best team in baseball, and we beat the Orioles in Baltimore. And just come out of that Wednesday, we played a day game in Baltimore, hit the road, we turned around, and we played Thursday in Minnesota. And then Saturday, it seemed like a day of jet lag. They were dragging ass. Or Friday. It was just a game. It was 1-0 game. I think we actually had 9 hits. We left 9 guys stranded that night. They just looked beat, man. They looked tired. And I'm like, oh, man, what's going to happen? They came out Saturday, man. What a game Saturday. It was a beauty. But Naylor and Jimenez have been kind of carrying the offense. You get some guys on base, and they're hitting them around right now. And that's what you need, man. That's what you need, and it's starting to come together.
I'm going to read some stats to you, and you tell me if these are stats that are good. All right?
Okay.
Today's game, 1 for 2, 2 run, a home run, 2 RBIs, 3 walks. Okay? That's today. 11 home runs on the year, 24 extra base hits on the year, 402 on base percentage, not on the year through 53 games.
Yeah.
That's Bo Naylor's numbers. That's Bo Naylor's numbers.
Naylor, yeah. I knew when you started reading them.
So he hit a home run today, his 11th home run of the day. The speed off the bat of that home run was 105.1 miles per hour.
Yeah.
When he just absolutely
nicks into it.
I saw him. I was just going to see how much closer he was going to get.
I was trying.
And we're seeing opposing teams' broadcasters just absolutely hate it when they face Bo Naylor. He's hit like 6 of his 11 home runs against Iowa. So like he just keeps, every time they play Iowa, he just crushes them. If you're looking at what do you need to do, so Bo Naylor on the year, I don't know. This is updated. So 258, obviously lower than you want. The 258, 11 home runs, 44 knocked in. He has 49 hits, 40 runs scored, 190 at bats through 53 games. Listen, you can tell me all you want that Bo needs to figure some things out defensively, but he's not worse than Mike Zunino back there. I can promise you that. And guess what? Keep Cam Gallagher around. I know Gallagher's not very good either, but if you're talking about a defensive catcher that has kind of been around a little bit, Gallagher is fine as your backup. I think Gallagher is fine as your backup. I think it's time to bring Bo Naylor up here. And in the end, here's what I look at it. I understand, and Rogers talked about this, and he can split time. He doesn't need to be the everyday catcher at first because, Rogers talked about, well, you worry about it being more games than he's ever played. So we're
past that point, though, Jacob. They play 150 games a season at AAA.
Right.
So we're past that point. We're past anything that has to do with service time. That's only 16 days. I think the season's like 187, and a full year for a major league player is like 172. So service time's out the window. It has nothing to do with those factors. I really, I don't know if they're thinking we have 4 guys going to arbitration all at the same time already. We don't want 5 or 6. I don't see them doing that because now they actually reward major league ball player or organizations for bringing these prospects, in early, and there's actually rewarded for that. These franchises. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know.
Mike. I can't find a reason for you to say not to. That's my point.
That's right.
When the Guardians signed Mike Zunino, you said, okay, he might not have a great batting average, which he's batting 189 on the season,
which is better than it was.
And they said maybe he'll hit for power. Okay, at this point, Mike Zunino has 3 home runs and 13 RBIs.
And he's played how many games?
He's played, I don't know how many games he's played. He has 111 at-bats. So in 111 at-bats, he has 21 RBIs. No, I'm sorry, I lied. In 111 at-bats, he has 11 RBIs, and he has 3 home runs. He has 53 strikeouts in 111 at-bats.
He's played 37 games.
He's played 37 games. Thank you. I just don't. And yes, I get there was some upside there with the signing. I get, you didn't get the catcher from the A's, if I'm not mistaken, that everyone was pursuing. Was it from the A's?
Rays.
Yeah.
From the Rays. Sorry.
Oh, no. Yes. You're talking about, yes. Zunino was from the Rays. Sorry.
Okay. Zunino's from the Rays. They wanted the catcher from the A's who went to the Braves, whose name escapes me.
Right. Murphy.
Yes, thank you. So you're not going to get everybody you want. And Zunino had some upside. I don't think right now we're seeing any upside, especially when you consider his fielding. Well, his catching is leaves something to be desired. So I know in previous episodes I said how many more episodes until we get Bo Naylor as official guardian. He was called up, but not permanently. I just don't see a reason right now when you're in this tight division race, when you've kind of fallen short early, which is typical, not to bring Bo Naylor up. When it feels like every day we log on to this Bird app, we see another day of Bo Naylor hitting well, and we see another day of Mike Zunino struggling. It's nothing against the guy. It's just, it's production-based business.
Right. And that's when they didn't pursue, and I didn't expect them to pursue Sean Murphy hard because they have Bo Naylor. In order to get that, what Tampa Bay, or what they gave up was they got 3 pitchers, the backup catcher, and another player or something. The Guardians would have had to give it up Bo Naylor, probably 2 or 3 pitchers. To get a catcher when they believe they have a guy like Sean Murphy in their farm system. You didn't make that move. You got Zunino, figured, hey, we can, patch it until the kid's ready. Well, like you said, Nick, the kid is ready. I'm glad they didn't make the move for Murphy with watching Naylor the way his ceiling and the way he's progressive. And also, this is the time of year when you start seeing them DFA players because you're about 45 days away from the trade deadline. Which means you're probably going to pay 38 games. And whoever you release, say you release Zunino, you want to make sure that you want to give whoever you're putting in there some time before the trade deadline to see if, A, we're at the point where we're going to contend, and we're going to have to make a trade to get somebody in to catch, or B, you're set. So you want to bring whoever you're going to put in that spot. In our case, would be Naylor. He's going to get 38, 35 games and 3 at bats a game. So 150 at bats, before the trade deadline. So it is the time of year, first, second week of June, you start seeing teams dumping high price free agents, veterans that maybe ain't producing, like that signed a show me contract or a, prove it contract, whatever. Like Mark Reynolds, some years ago with us. We had high hopes for him at first base. By June, he was gone. He didn't produce. I think that's going to happen to Zunino. I can't wait till they pull the trigger. I'm hoping to wake up tomorrow and it's when they do it. So
I just don't see it anymore. It's like we'll
be up. He's going to catch for us. It's just when, man, when. Yeah. What are we waiting for at this point?
You can come in and hit 220 and be a significant upgrade. like you can come in and hit 220 and be a part of a solution for a playoff run. Like that's how abysmal it's been.
Right.
I mean, there was like some stupid stat about like in the month of May where like the catching position had no hits and like a zillion, like 80 strikeouts or something. It sounds like I'm exaggerating, and I probably am a little bit, but there was a point in which they were like 0 for 50 and had struck out like 35 times. Like it was pathetic.
Yeah, he's going to be here. We wanted it last year. It didn't happen. And I believe in what the organization did and didn't bring him up last year, but I think it's time. I don't know what they're waiting for. These guys, they know they have their catcher of the future sitting in Columbus, or at least the hope of, the work, the hope and the work that they put into this kid, your catcher of the future, sitting in Columbus right now,
So go ahead, Nick.
I just want to say real quick that lately Gabriel Arias has gotten more playing time, and he's shown pop off the bat.
Yep.
He's hit in clutch moments against. What was it? It was in the Orioles series. He hit a home run.
Yeah.
Really nice to see, because obviously we know in this lineup how rare that is. I really feel like I want to start the pressure. I really feel like Arias has to play on a daily basis. I feel like that would be great for him. A lot of people have talked about how the inconsistency has messed with him. I think he has shown a significant amount of potential, and I really hope that Tito sees that and embraces it, because a lot of your success last year was based off rookies, right?
Yeah, young guys, yeah.
And so why can't we go back to the well there when you've got and I feel like, so I want to bring this up as a show point and see where you guys are at. Take the temperature of the room, because Ahmed Rosario is this focal point of the discussion. And I'm not trying to dip too negatively, but I think we have to be realistic about the situation and where things are. And so he gets hurt yesterday, and I think it was Arias who moved to first base, and has been up and down. I admit that. I'm not saying he's the super answer, but he did have 2 hits yesterday, and a walk on top of that. So I'm just saying, I feel like Arias is a nice example of somebody that, if given time, has a lot of potential. I'm on the Arias train. Where are you guys at?
I like Rosario. It's not going good right now. You got to try to figure out what is going on with that sort of stuff. But I need either Will Brennan or Arias out there every night. Okay. Like those dudes, like, they're part of the solution to me, because as you're looking at these games that have seen more productivity out of the bats over the last week or so, a lot of it is surrounded, like I just said, like Brennan's got 11 hits in his last 6 games. Like, you need to play that, right? You need to play a guy that's getting nearly 2 knocks a game over a guy in Rosario who's hitting 224 right now. Like, is that right? Did I say that right? Is he hitting 224? Where's my... I like say that and you're like, let's sure. See. Yeah, he's hitting 224 right now. So, like, I get it. I get what he's been and what he was last year, but, like, you need to just go out there and get at bats for the guys that are playing well and let the rest of it figure itself out. Like if Rosario starts hitting really, really well again, put him back out there. I don't care. But like I need Gabriel Arias or Will Brennan every day, preferably both.
There's a lot to unwrap with this, man. First of all, he's a natural shortstop. But whenever Rosario, like today, isn't in the lineup, he's in the lineup, but he's not at short. He's played right field one game when Rosario wasn't in the lineup. He's played first base. Why isn't Tito putting him at short when Rosario isn't in the game? When I watched him make a play playing third base in a game, and he went into the hole and got a ball that should have been Rosario's at shortstop. And he came up and threw the guy out with a cannon.
He has a rocket.
You have Rocchio, who is just a gifted shortstop. There's a log jam there. I don't think Rosario – I love Ramid Rosario, the way he plays the game of baseball, man. He just plays the game so hard. But like you said, Nick, when you have a ball player that's sitting behind you and he's better, he's just flat out better. He's swinging the bat better. Defensively, he's better. And that's huge for Tito to have a shortstop second baseman with a gold glove center fielder up the middle is huge in baseball. And I'm not saying he's a gold glove shortstop yet, but he's a hell of a lot better than Rosario defensively. I don't know why he's not playing shortstop when Rosario isn't in the ball game. Now Rosario's on the they put him on the IR, right? Or they just he's hurt.
No, he's just on the bench.
He had knee stiffness, right? They just held him out for that. I don't think Rosario's along for this baseball team. I think he's another one. I think because of just like pitching, there's a logjam at shortstop. You can't platoon Brennan and Arias in right field. They both need to be in the lineup every day. Neither one of them are going to replace. People want Miles. Nobody is going to play center field until there's another Gold Glove or that's going to go out and play center field. If you people just met Tito Francona, Miles Straw is playing center field until there's a Gold Glover. Brennan is not a Gold Glove center fielder. He'll never will. I watched him run in circles the other night in right field. He had a miserable night. I think it was against Baltimore. And I tweeted, "You want this kid in center field? You can't do it." We got some log jams going on. I think definitely Rosario and Zunino are not going to be on this ball club for long. I'd love to see him play shortstop. How do you put it? I say Arias. Arias. I know him. That's what he says, Arias. I'd love to see him play shortstop. I watched him make that play at third, and I was just mesmerized, man.
He's got a bazooka.
Just thinking of what could be with him and Jimenez on the other side of second base. And that's another thing. Jimenez isn't going anywhere. Oh, put him in short. He's not playing. He's our Gold Glove second baseman. Why would you take out a Gold Glove second baseman and weaken that position to try to fortify another? It doesn't make sense. No. He's a second baseman for the Cleveland Guardians.
You don't rob Peter to pay Paul. It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
I just did a little bit of math. Last year, Ahmed Rosario had 180 hits. Currently, he is on pace for 141 hits.
Yeah.
If he was to continue. And on top of that, he has been absolutely abysmal in the field defensively. And I just don't think – so I feel like Ahmed's bat – because to his credit, the last 2 years, Ahmed's batted 283 and 282. So those are good numbers.
Respectable, absolutely.
That's absolutely respectable. Currently, you're batting 224.
Right.
And when you are not fielding well and you're batting 224, I just don't understand how that justifies you being in the lineup. I know that sucks. I know that's negative, but that's just the case. And so when you have Arias who's showing potential, I don't know how we're still playing Ahmed Rosario right now. I don't understand that. And so I'm really curious to see where things go moving forward.
And I think, honestly, that's a question that needs answered. And I think that hopefully we'll get kind of those answers this week. They're off on Monday, obviously. So we'll see. Real quick, before we wrap this thing up, I wanted to tell you that the most inconvenient place you can get a sunburn is the top of your feet. Because listen, I got the top of my feet sunburnt last week, and then I went golfing on Wednesday, and I wore regular shoes, and it just grinded that sunburn for 18 holes. And by the end of that day, I was like, I don't even know if I like playing golf anymore. So that's some tip, man. Like when you're going to be on the beach for a while, slather the sunscreen on the top of your feet.
Bury your feet in the sand, man.
I started covering them. I covered them. I covered them with towels and stuff after that. But like, I got burnt on the first day, and it was downhill.
There's nothing worse, man. You can't do anything.
No.
Jacob,
yes.
Before we send it out, I think we would be remiss if we did not mention the charity event that you
absolutely.
Yeah, check it out. The official announcement will come on Tuesday night's Bark and Brown show. So if you want to check us out, we'll be live at 8 p.m. We will be running our second annual charity fundraiser this year. We're looking at Project Sanctuary, which is an organization that basically the way they have, what they say their mission is to help military families heal. Military veterans face a 50% higher suicide rate than civilians do. And a lot of times when veterans come home, they just don't know how to reconnect. And Project Sanctuary does a great job of sending them away on retreats to help teach them communication skills and coping mechanisms and other things to where they're able to really reconnect with their family members and everybody and try to get back to living somewhat of a normal life. And they strive to be able to do this at no cost to the veteran. So they do that. That is where the donation tries to come into place. And I have some more details on the website and whatnot that everybody can go check it out. But that announcement will come Tuesday night, as well as the link. We'll be playing a punishment style that results in me being shot with paintballs. Depending on how much money we raise, we're trying to raise $1,000. If we raise $1,000, I'll be shot 20 times with a paintball gun.
Are you gonna do like a shooting gallery where you just walk back and forth and bing?
No, I'm just gonna stand there, man. Like
I think you should walk back and forth like at the shooting gallery.
Duck hunt.
Yeah.
Play duck hunt or something like that. I don't know, man. We're gonna live stream it.
We'll put you in a duck outfit.
Start to fly around. You get that little dog picks me up by the bottom of my feet. But yeah, then we're gonna do that. The announcement will come on Tuesday, and we'll be talking about it on each of the shows subsequently after that.
Yeah.
Do we have anything more? Anything else, friends?
No, I gotta go eat dinner.
It's been a pleasure to be back after 2 weeks away. Thank you to everybody that's here and that has helped support us to get here. We promise there's a lot more fun stuff coming along the way. This has been an episode.
Yeah.
Not sure which one.
Who knows?
I'm living the guard life. Who knows right now? I'm Nick. That's Jacob. He's Roger. Go Guards.
Salute.
Go Guards.